Shout out Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Yes, yes. Hey, y'all. Hey, it's me, Tamara. Oh, yes. I just love when the studio audience just be on point, doing what y'all supposed to do. Act like y'all know what it is. Act like y'all know it's the Tamara till the break of dawn show. You know what I'm saying? But, guys, well, okay, wait, let's back up. To all my new listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. New episodes drop every Thursday. I usually talk about my life, the ways I'm trying to grow. All my regular supporters, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're not, you should totally be following me on social media. So the link to all that, subscribe to the YouTube, do all that good stuff. Y'all, I'm excited though. I got a guess. I mean, if you saw the episode cover or the title or whatever, you already know I got a guess. This is a guest. This is a fellow podcaster. Shout out to y'all because y'all never let me down when I invite you on the platform. Y'all always come through. You know what I'm saying? But this is somebody who I have wanted to have on the show for a long time because I'm very much a fan of not even just her show, although I love her show, but I like anybody who's a therapist or anything like that. I automatically am like fangirl, just excited about it just because you guys do the work like for real, that I'm passionate about, but I don't do that professionally because no, I'm not about to do all that. But guys, welcome. Welcome to the platform, our self-care bestie, Shavonne.
Ooh.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Your self-care bestie.
Right.
Miss Sweet Sugar Baby.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Thank you for having me.
I know.
I'm excited.
Yes, I'm excited. This is going to be a good episode, y'all. We're going to talk about self-care stuff and all that good stuff because that is, you know, it's funny. When I first saw you like on Twitter, whenever, you know, and I saw Self-Care After Dark, I was like, what's she talking about?
So,
you know what I'm saying?
Before I became a podcast, I had like I would do like live IGs. On my Sweet Sugar Baby page. And
okay.
One of my girlfriends that I've known since I was 8 years old. So we would talk about different topics. So we would get a little spicy sometimes, just a little bit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We would talk about relationships and a little bit of sex and this and that and, you know, and it was called Self-Care After Dark because
okay.
Self-Care Bestie. So I was like, I love podcasts, so I need to get into that realm. And I'm like, everybody knows me for Self-Care After Dark. So that's the podcast. But it is a little misleading because I don't really talk about sex because, you know, I'm a little shy. Not really, but
I was like, I don't know about that one.
But you know, when you're recording, you're like,
yeah.
I don't know what I can say.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I did have an episode, and I had a girl that sold sex toys, and we kind of talked about self-pleasure because that is a form of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Gave us some tips and showed us some like toys, and it was a little spicy.
Okay. Yeah, that's funny though, because I definitely was like, okay, Self-Care After Dark. Okay, let me see what she talking about.
I'm gonna amp it up.
No, but definitely a fan though of the show.
Thank you.
Just your focus on self-care. So y'all shouldn't be surprised that I'm having her on because that's so important to me. And I just felt like I have been wanting to have her on for a long time. I told her this before we started recording. And so y'all already know I say, like, I'm for real when I say you could be on my mind for months as someone like, oh, I want to have them on. But if I don't really know what I want to talk, or maybe I have an idea, because I've had like 5 different ideas for her to come on. Clearly, none of those were the ones, you know what I'm saying? It could be maybe in the future, you know what I'm saying? But
right here,
you know, the one though, self-care, like actual self-care tips. She has products, like she's a therapist, she's whatever. But even before we get into that, guys, we have some other stuff in common. One of my favorite things that we have in common, shout out to Juice. Everybody knows that's my favorite menace, but that man is a menace. And what I love is when I am scrolling on the Twitterverse and I see y'all going back and forth like how he and I go back and forth. I'm like, get him.
Like a guilty pleasure.
It is.
He said something off the chain. I'm just like, now you know better than that. Yep. I haven't had the pleasure of recording with him, but soon come.
Yes, and it's so funny because he's such a dope person. Like, he's been on here so many times because he's one of my favorite people to record with. And I mean, we talk off the mic. His energy is just contagious, but that man is also a menace. And if you follow him on Twitter, you already know.
But it's always something just wild and crazy. And it's like 6 a.m. He's doing something ridiculous.
Right.
So you woke up just ready to just fight the world. What is going on? You know,
yep.
Like he off the chain.
Mm-hmm. Like, did you have your coffee yet? He sleeps. It's too early for you to be on this early.
He lives for this.
He definitely does. But yeah, shout out to him. I don't even know. He's just my favorite menace. I ain't gonna call him my enemy because it's not even like that at all. It's all love. But he just, yeah. Every now and then.
Don't give him too much now.
Every now and then you can get like some seriousness and some goodness. And like every now and then I'll be proud of his tweets. Every now and then.
Right. And you have to acknowledge it like, whoa, I didn't know you were that deep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed. You know, like he impresses me sometimes, you know.
But then the sad part is then if you keep scrolling, you will see that. And then 2 minutes later, it was back to the same old.
Don't give too much now.
No.
Give too much is no.
No. And so, yeah, we definitely are going to get into self-care stuff and all that good stuff. Let's go here though. So you're a therapist, right? Mm-hmm. Now, it's so crazy why I'm such a fan of anybody that I meet, especially Black women that are therapists, which I know a few of y'all, but that was the career path that I wanted to pursue. But I just realized I'm not really the one to sit there and you come talk about the same thing potentially every day, not every day, but every week. Or I'm more like, okay, so what are we going to do? And once I realize that about myself, and I know that that's not what therapy is at times, like the client kind of leads it how they need it to be. I realized that just really wasn't, you know what I'm saying, for me. But I am such a fan of other people. So how did you get into that? And how long have you been doing it? And
oh gosh. Okay, so first things first, I definitely relate to everything that you're saying because I too, I'm very solution focused. So it's like, okay, you have a problem. How do we solve it? Mm-hmm. What are you going to do? What's step 1? What's step 2? Mm-hmm. So there are certain areas of therapy that you're just not going to get that step 1 and step 2. You're going to get a repeat of every session is going to be the exact same thing because this person is set. So those are areas that I don't particularly work in because I just know my frustration level would be kind of at an all-time high. And you have to know what area you want to, like, where am I going to be most effective? Because I'll get mad, because I'm just like, now I told you, or, we talked about this, but the patient and the client does leave. But I graduated in 2011.
Okay.
With my social work degree, became licensed, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker, so I can do therapy, have my own.
Come on, license. Yes.
I be trying out here. But I've been doing it for a while, and I just feel like it's always been like a natural thing for me. When I speak with people, I can get anything out of them, but I think that the most, like, what I love the most about it is I can connect with people and just help people to understand that you are not alone. Sometimes I'm sitting there crying with them because I'm just like, I'm here with you. I'm here with you. I really am. I'm a very empathetic person naturally. So I definitely connect with, the patients. But I do also know how to, once I leave and clock out, I'm going to holler at y'all later and leave all of that drama there. Back up the next day. But you have to definitely learn how to compartmentalize. And one of the most difficult things about therapy and being a therapist is you can't do it on yourself or on others, right? So as much as I know, the right things in my life, oh my goodness, I'd be like, let me call my therapist because I'm tripping right now. People are like, what no. Like, I can relate. I can, I know coping skills, but when you're in the heart of it and, your emotions are at play, sometimes it's even difficult for you to just deal with life and deal with things and deal with kids and things like that. But I relate to everyone, for sure.
I didn't even think about, I remember because like I got my degree in psychology because I that's what I thought I was going to do. And I remember reading about you can't like have dual relationships with your clients. So like you couldn't be your friend's therapist or, stuff like that. And I remember reading, what I loved about the homework is there was so much self-discovery that I had to do in my homework. So it's like, it didn't even seem, it was homework because it's work, but it's stuff that I'm like, this is my homework. I got a journal and okay, yes, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? So
because we have a lot of like internalized biases. Like we don't realize that we feel this way. And if you're dealing with people, you can't go in assuming that their story or assuming, this is a Black woman in her 20s and I just know the type of person she is. Like you have to be able to check all your biases, all your thoughts, all your preconceived notions of people, and you have to really be able to see that person, and hear that person and give them the benefit of the doubt and just listen to their story. And a lot of people can do it and a lot of people can't do it. But I'm an advocate. I'm quick to tell you or to tell anybody, as a Black person, I think it's important to have a Black therapist. It's more difficult. It's hard. It's tough. But it's important to be seen and to feel seen in the therapeutic approach because I've heard horror stories of some of my patients that have, had different therapists and they weren't seen at all. And it's more damaging and more harm than good. And they're already, if you're going to therapy, you're already seeking some type of help for whatever the concern is. So to kind of seek the help and then you're kind of still dealing with like racism or preconceived notions and it can be devastating. So I encourage you to have a Black therapist if you're Black.
And if you have one who's not, they definitely have to be an ally. And I say that because both of my daughters have, gone to therapy, and one had a Black woman because that's what she wanted. She loved her. The other one does not, but she's told me about like different conversations they've had about and stuff like that. And she definitely, speaks to that part of my, will say, well, as a Black girl, or she might say woman now that she's 18, but, stuff like that. Like, she's done her homework or done whatever, especially when she was in high school and was going to a predominantly white school. So then, and then she has like such a big personality. And so, it's interesting because white women struggle with this too when they have a big personality, but like as a Black woman having a big personality, and depending on how that personality flows, there's so much of a stigma that comes along with that, and comments and all that. And so I know that for her, her therapist, it's worked for her to be with who she's with, but she's also someone that doesn't act like that doesn't matter. Like, she very much will speak to the importance of different things. And it doesn't, from what my daughter has told me, because obviously I'm not in there, but just the things that she's told me, it's like, it sounds like it's appropriate and it's coming from a good place and not whatever. But yeah, definitely.
If she's able to speak to the issues and not kind of, because people are scared to talk about race or to say,
right,
Black woman, how do you feel? Or how does it impact you as a gay person, transgender person, like, people are scared to kind of really put the topics and put what you can clearly see in front of your face, so it can work. It can definitely work if you don't, because it's not a lot of Black therapists out there. So sometimes you don't have access to one. So
yeah.
You can find an ally, then that works too.
Sure. So you're a therapist, and then, obviously self-care is an important part of what you're talking to your clients about.
Yes.
How did you go from I don't want to say transition because you're still a therapist, but like the journey from solely doing therapy to, okay, skincare products. That's what I saw first, y'all, which I haven't bought it yet because I ain't had it like that, but that's on my to-do list. You know what I'm saying? I know Chris has bought stuff from you because she told us about it even before she talked about it on her show. And then I see the journal and I'm like, okay, so what I love about that is you're always putting tips out there. In your episode, we'll talk about stuff. And even on TikTok, I'll see videos and stuff like that. Matter of fact, IG too, just everywhere, y'all. Everywhere she be at,
Very well.
But I also see, so the journal focuses on the internal stuff, but then the skincare focuses on, and I'll hear you say stuff like, go to the dentist, work out, just take care of yourself. So when in your journey, or I guess what made that stick out to you so much so that you're like, you know what, I'm going to create stuff to fix that or help that or do that?
So many things. So initially, the self-care line was first. It was my first business, but I became a widow in 2017. So I was a widow. I had a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old at the time. So of course, when something traumatic happens like that, your kids tend to cling to you a little bit more because they are dealing with the traumatic experience as well. So they're, sometimes regress a little bit. They're dealing with anxiety and fear. Like, okay, well, we lost one. I don't want to lose. So my kids were on me like white on rice. I was trying to navigate the loss and navigate how to be a single parent, how to be a solo parent. I was trying to navigate how to, keep a steady household, everything, literally everything changed. So it was a lot to navigate. And I became obviously very overwhelmed just by everything, just kind of blink of an eye. Everything is completely different and everything changed. So I had to learn to adjust. But it was hard. It was really, really, and it's still hard. Honestly, it's still hard. But I was like, I need something for myself because my kids out, but they were dealing with so much. I was dealing with so much, and my main thing is to make sure that they were good, make sure they're good mentally, physically, I kept their routine. So they were just living life. Everything was all good for them. Meanwhile, I'm like drowning in like just stress. It was very overwhelming. So, I was like, I need to do something that I can actually do that doesn't cost a lot of money to me, that doesn't cost a lot of my time, because I don't have time. It's just me and my 2 kids, that I can do without, them, to a certain extent. So I created a sugar scrub, and I'm like, the shower is the only place I can really be in, and not really, because the kids are busting there. Hey, mommy, what are you doing? The kids are busting.
They don't be caring.
They don't care at all. But I was like, I can use a sugar scrub in the shower, and that's just a little something that I can do that just for me, and that's going to make me feel good, So I started making sugar scrubs and just really started getting into self-care. And once I created my sugar scrub, I'm giving my mom some, I'm giving my sister some. I'm like, y'all got to try this. Y'all got to try this. And I was like, this could really be something, So self-care for me came from my need for self-care. It came from my being overwhelmed with life and everything of that nature. But like you were saying, self-care, that was like a physical, that was just something, external to put on my skin, made my skin feel good, but also I had to do the work as well, right? So self-care is physical self-care, which, exercising, eating right. It's mental self-care, which is making sure that mentally you are stable, right? So after the loss, I did get a therapist, and I did make sure I was on top of my appointments, because mentally I had to get to a stronger place. I had to deal with the grief. And then once we got the grief not over with, but once I kind of got a handle on that, then I had to deal with, okay, what does life look like for myself now, right? What does life look like for me as a single parent with 2 kids and trying to raise 2 boys, and that was a whole nother thing. I also, it's like emotional self-care, physical self-care, mental self-care, spiritual self-care. That's where like sometimes the journaling comes in, and just really letting out your thoughts, and, praying and going to church or whatever your faith is. So there's a lot of different aspects, but I didn't really start to really learn about all those aspects of self-care until I needed to. And then once I really started to engage in all the aspects of self-care, I started to kind of get myself back a little bit, and not completely, because I always tell people that like pain, depending on what type of pain you go through, pain changes you. So as I was going through the change of dealing with that level of pain, I was just evolving more, so I was becoming the person that I wanted to become, and I was, able to do the things that I wanted to do. And it was like I had like a new lease on life, like I just felt much, much, much better, because I was starting to just discover who I am, what do I want to be, who do I want to be to my kids, who do I want to be to myself. So I did all of that and learned all of those things through, taking time for myself to take care of myself. So that's where it came from.
It's so crazy, because as we're recording this, Father's Day is coming up. So it's always June always, for my family, June is always tough, because Father's Day, obviously, that's also the last time that we saw their dad. And then his death anniversary date is this month, which is 2 days after my birthday. So whereas my birthday is this month, and it should be a joyous time, it's just crazy. But so he had other kids, like our relationship was so back and forth and just whatever. So he has other kids, and more recently, when my youngest daughter graduated, we reconnected with 2 of their sisters. Well, we had reconnected with them, but like actually seeing them more, and they're actually going to come over for Father's Day. And it's really interesting, because what I realized, this is where you say grief, you just navigate it and you manage it, it never goes away. As I have felt very like triggered lately because I had gotten used to it being me and my daughters and that's our grief. You know what I'm saying? And like my son has a different dad, so it's not his grief and it's our grief. Well, now that I talk to my stepdaughters more, it's wild because then it's hearing it from a different perspective of they didn't get as much time with him as my daughters did because one didn't live here and the others were adopted by a different family. Just so many different things happen. Right. And then just like navigating all of that. And it's just, you know, I told his sister, I'm like, I don't know if it would be so much on my heart to feel like I need to be the parent because I'm the only parent out of the moms, that has relationship with all of the people that can. And I say that like that because the adoptive mom, now shout out to her for adopting 4 kids, keeping the family together. Like,
shout out to her.
Shout out. And I should say them because, you know, her and her husband. But there was a point when my daughters started going to let's back up. When their dad died and there was the funeral and we ended up going to dinner with all of them, I remember exchanging numbers with their adoptive parents and being like, hey, I would love for the girls to be able to, because they grew up around their siblings. So it wasn't something where like I raised those kids when me and their dad were together, I raised them as if they were my own. Like I treated them, I won't say raised because they didn't live with us, but I treated them as if they were my own every time they came over. You know what I'm saying? And so they had memories with their siblings. So it wasn't this thing where they didn't know each other and then we didn't see them for a while and then we reconnected and I'm like, I would love for them to be able to. And they took my number and I reached out to them and they didn't respond. And then some years go by and then the girls end up at the same school with them. And again, I'm like, hey, I would love,
trying to reach out.
Again, nothing. So now the oldest is an adult and has moved out. And so she actually kind of like found us all on Facebook, and we've reconnected and we don't get that with the younger 3. And so even stuff like that where I'm like, it makes me sad. It's not even about me. It's about my daughters and them not getting to see their siblings. You know what I'm saying? And it's just the grief I found myself. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. It's the beautiful thing about when iPhones connect to Max and you put it on Do Not Disturb and the kids bypass it because they're on bypass. You know what I'm saying? So,
yes.
Sorry, y'all. Anyways, it's been just a crazy.
Tough to navigate.
And I've had to ramp up my self-care. I start my day with prayer, journaling, read my Bible too. I have to, because how am I go deal with people in the world if I ain't have my time by myself? Even just as an introvert, like I need my time by myself, right? But now I've had to start at the end of the day, dump everything out and like, because otherwise it's like I couldn't sleep and my mind would just keep going and all over the place and this, that, and the other. And so it's kind of like...
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And it's something that a lot of people don't really know how to relate to. So sometimes you kind of feel like you are alone in the process because who can you really talk to about this? The dynamics and you wanting to make sure your daughters have that connection, but not really being able to create that connection because the kids are over there. And but it seems like like the older daughter is, they're going to connect eventually. Sometimes you don't know what's going on in the house. You don't know if the adoptive parents have the mental or emotional capacity to try to build or create a relationship. We don't know anything. So, it's just one of those things you can hope and pray that once they become 18, they too can reach out. And they're still connected with the older sister. So the older sister will be able to make, some connections as well. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I've really just I pray a lot and pray. I'm not saying, I want to be careful how I say this, because I always remember that I have a public platform and you never know who's listening because you don't get to see. But where the Bible talks about like pray for your enemies. And I'm not saying at all, let me be very clear. I'm not saying that the adoptive mom is my enemy or anything like that. But there's division right now because my kids are not allowed to see their siblings. So that makes me feel some kind of way about it. You know what I'm saying? But I've just decided to pray because, God can change hearts. I know I was a different person before. Look at me now. Praise him. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So that's all I can do. And I've really just had to that's why I wanted to do a self-care episode. Cause I'm like, I talk about self-care a lot, but I always love to bring a professional on that's like, this is what they specialize in because it's beneficial to me. I always get something from these episodes, but I know it's going to be, beneficial to my listeners because we all need to take care of ourselves. Like, I don't care who you are. If you're not taking care of yourself, you're no good to yourself or anybody else or whatever you're trying to do.
I think people think it's noble to be like, I'm putting everybody first. And it's like, that's not noble. You can only do it for so long. And a lot of times when you do that, we get burnt out physically. We also get burnt out emotionally because people are like, they're ungrateful because people are just naturally ungrateful, especially if those people are, your kids, because your kids are like, oh, you're my mom. You're supposed to do that. You're
right.
You're like, thanks, Mom, for putting me first. Kids don't care about any of that. So you are putting them first. Sometimes that means that you're putting yourself last and you just don't have it, And if you don't have anything else, you need to have a little bit of mental clarity and balance. Self-care gives you. So journaling is going to set your mind up for the day or set it up at night so that you can sleep better. Because I think journaling has been proven to help you sleep better because you don't have all these thoughts going on in your head. You don't have all these frustrations. Like you can just get it out of physically get it out of your body. I can relate to you, saying praying for your enemies and things like that because I've been having to really pray hard and journal about certain things that you just don't know how to shape. You don't hate this person. I'm not mad at them, but I feel a little bit of internal resistance towards them. So sometimes you do want to explore that, and sometimes you can explore that by journaling and just kind of getting those thoughts out there and looking on the paper and just being able to confront them, because a lot of times we do have thoughts that we don't really know what it means, but we're scared to confront it. We're just like, all right, I'm gonna just shove it down. I'm not even gonna think about it. Let me eat some snacks. Let me watch some TV. It just doesn't exist. Off. And then you roll over at night, that stuff is it's on the other pillow. You roll over and it's on the other pillow, like, what's up? Because you never really dealt with it. And if we don't deal with it head on, it stays. And some of those things we don't want to stay for prolonged periods of time because it impacts how you deal with a person. It impacts how you feel, because if you can think about, let's say, the adoptive parents, and you kind of get a little anxiety, you feel a little weird, and it's like, that's not the reaction that you want to have. If you want to have a reaction, you want to, the first thought is, you know what, I don't understand what's going on, but God bless you. Time is right. We're going to all reconnect. 5 years, when the youngest is 18, I'm going to look for her on TikTok. There's, even if it's not right now, it doesn't mean that it's not going to ever happen, So, sometimes you just have to pray, leave it to God, and keep it pushing, But, even in that process, just getting it out of your system can be cleansing and mental health, you know?
So what are some self-care tips or self-care like best practices as far as things that people can do? I usually say journaling for sure because that's what I do. Mm-hmm. But what I'm noticing, even as I meet with clients, my coaching clients, because some of the stuff we're going to talk about is going to be how to deal with your stress, how to whatever. And I actually am thinking I need a toolbox. Now, I'm not a therapist, so I'm not trying to be that, you know what I'm saying? But a toolbox of different things to tell people because I can't just like what works for me, but that might not work for you. You know what I'm saying? And then my listeners too. Of course, everything is for y'all, but I'm trying to get some help for me too. You know what I'm saying?
So I would just suggest really trying to figure out what you like, right? Like because it's all personalized. So I may like to go grounding, meaning I may like to go stand outside, take my shoes off, stand in the dirt, stand in the grass, and just sit, absorb some sun, and just reconnect with the earth. Because I'm a nature person. I really love the nature. So I might like to do things that are going to kind of reconnect me with nature. Sit on the beach and, you know, sip a margarita outside. Those might be things that I like to do. But if you have somebody that may be an introvert, right? You're not going to say, hey, you need to, you know, go and hang out with a group of friends, because there is a social aspect to self-care, which is, you know, making sure that you can reconnect with, you know, friends and going to happy hour, going to brunch, you know, just so that you can kind of have that time with other people to socialize as well. But you may say for the person that's an introvert, journaling is good, but you also may want to see a therapist so that you can get some of those things out, or so that you can kind of have someone to bounce certain ideas off of, you know, depending on what your time is. If you have, you know, a certain amount of time, you may want to go and get a 1-hour massage, you know, talk about, you know, what are your finances right now. If you don't have any money, right, you don't have a lot of money to do like, you know, elaborate self-care, you might want to research, you know, on Pinterest. Okay, how can I make a sugar scrub, or what can I do, you know, to relax, or getting a bucket of water and soaking your feet, like literally soaking your feet in a bucket of water, put a little bit of, you know, bath salts in there, a little bit of bubble bath, and just soaking your feet, just setting time aside to just do something for yourself. It definitely it helps you to feel like you are making yourself a priority, you know? So, like I said, there's the mental self-care, which is just making sure that mentally you are okay and stable. So you're going to see a therapist. If you are prescribed meds, you're going to take your meds. If you aren't prescribed meds and you don't believe in taking meds, there are a lot of supplements that can be very helpful to your mental health, you know. This just depending on what you need. Spiritual, you may want to reconnect with your faith, whatever that faith is. You can start back going to church. There is Michael Todd on YouTube. He has the different series that you can watch. T. Jakes, and you can watch on YouTube or listen on podcasts. Spiritually, a lot of people do for spirituality is like they'll do yoga too. You know, and sometimes I'll do yoga and I'm saying my prayers as I'm getting into my little downward facing dog, you know, like it's so some people, you know, yoga could be in the spiritual sense in different ways for different people, right? Like I think Buddhists and, you know, do yoga, but you can also, you know, make yoga work for you in whatever your spiritual practice is, right? You can say you can meditate. Meditation is spiritual because you're just literally connecting with yourself. And even as you meditate, you can pray. You can say a prayer, or you can say your affirmations. The physical self-care is exercising. Exercising is one of the best things that you can do for not only your body, but for your mind, because you release so many endorphins when you exercise. Like, when I exercise, I hate to do it, but after I do it, I'm like, man, I feel like $1,000,000. You got the blood flowing, which gives you energy. Your body feels better, and your mind just feels more stable when you exercise, right? Going to the doctor, getting a checkup, making sure you're taking your vitamins and your drink that water. Really watching our diet, because our food and the types of food we eat impacts how we feel, right? We don't think about that a lot, especially in the Black community, but if you eat a bucket of fried chicken and biscuits, guess what? You're not going to feel your best. You're going to be lethargic. You're going to be sluggish. You might feel more stressed out because all of these different chemicals are in your body. So sometimes the simple act of juicing, maybe add a juice into your diet once in a while, you know? Diet plays a huge part in just how you really feel. And making sure you go to the doctor for your physical self-care as well. And just there's a financial self-care, making sure we're on a budget, making sure we're monitoring how much we're spending, making sure we're not just blowing money, but maybe we have a savings, we're investing, whatever your financial goals are. That is a financial self-care that we can, really tweak, because a lot of times it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. Once my bills are paid, I don't really think about anything else. But financial self-care could really set us up for the future, so we don't have to work so hard in the future. And that's what, that's what I want. I don't know if everybody wants that, but that's what I want. But if you're looking for a self-care routine, I would just really just say sit with yourself and figure out what are some of the things that you enjoy doing, some of the things that you have at hand. Like painting can be a self-care activity. Just I want to sit down and paint, that you can get paint in a paper from the Dollar Tree, and you can just reconnect with yourself. It's whatever that you can do that's going to make you feel good. And it can be simple things. It doesn't have to be elaborate. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but I think it's important to get back to you and make sure you're making yourself a priority. Like you're saying, you wake up and you pray and you kind of put everything, maybe set your intentions for what you want to experience that day. Look at your schedule, make sure you're on point with everything. And if you're starting your day with that type of routine, you're setting yourself up for success. If you're ending your day with that routine and journaling, getting those thoughts out, you're going to see that the more you engage in self-care, the better you're going to actually feel over time. When you stop engaging in self-care, you're going to be like, I just got to get myself together. You might be more short-tempered. You might not have as much energy because you're not really taking care of yourself. There's a lot of things to it.
That financial self-care, out of everything you mentioned, that's something I had never even really, I never really made that connection of it being self-care when you taking care of your stuff and having a budget and stuff like that. Like, I know that's important for you to tell your money where you want it to go, but I never really made that connection that even that is self-care.
Because imagine how, finances is such a large part of stress right now. And you talk to probably 7 or 8 out of 10 people right now. The biggest issue right now is the finances. So we can kind of, be tighter on those finances, or learn how to make our money work for us in a better way. You're caring for yourself, you're caring for your finances, and in turn, it's going to help you over time. Because imagine if you get into a good financial self-care routine, which is like maybe checking your bank account every month, pulling out cash instead of using your card every day. That can set you up to where maybe in the next 6 months, you're not as stressed about cash because you were able to budget your money properly. So you have a little bit more of a nest egg, right now where, we swipe and swipe and swipe, and in 6 months, we're in a bigger hole because we haven't been taking care of our finances, taking care of ourselves,
Yeah, that physical self-care. Definitely. I know, like, for me, one thing I love about my schedule now is that I set my schedule. So, like, there are certain days of the week that I work out. Right now it's 4 days, and I do yard work. Like I mowed the lawn on Saturday. So that's cardio plus weights too, because it's a hill that I'm pushing this mower up the hill. You know what I'm saying? Now it is, self-propelled or whatever. So I can push, but I still got to walk that thing up it. You know what I'm saying? But so like today, for example, I had plenty of time to work out. Today is a workout day, and I did, but I sat there and I was like, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to work out. I just want to sit here.
Right.
And I pushed myself to do it. And what I've noticed is, because I follow so many different fitness people or whatever, and they'll be like, a struggle workout is better than no workout. You know what I'm saying? And so what I've noticed lately is I have my little workout playlist with all my little ratchet and thugged out and all the songs that have me living a whole different lifestyle than what I really be living. But when I'm at war with my fat, I gotta have that war playlist. You feel me? Or thought stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? Just all the songs, right? And so what I'll do is I have like this little routine where I'll do squats, I'll do this, I'll do that, whatever. And then sometimes I'll tell my daughter, I'll just start dancing. Like I'll just put the weights down and maybe just do a minute or two of something, you know what I'm saying? Just to let the music, move me or whatever. And I've noticed that I've been doing that a lot more lately because I haven't felt like working out. But when I do that, I'm still burning calories because I got my Apple Watch going and it's letting me know what's going on. I'm still sweating. I'm still seeing a difference. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing that I'm, but it's
that effort. You're doing it.
Yep. But like you said, when I'm not doing it and I'm skipping it and I'm whatever, there's a difference. And even in how I sleep, like I sleep better when I have a consistent workout schedule and I have them endorphins or whatever. So even though I might not have felt like it before I did it, like I never regret it after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So where can they get your stuff? Like, how do they, if somebody wants a journal, if somebody wants sweetsugarbaby.com, you know what I'm saying? It will be in the episode notes,
Okay. So I'm everywhere. So I'm going to start out with, Sweet Sugar Baby, which is my holistic self-care skincare brand, and I create sugar scrubs, and I'm getting into candles, and it's amazing if you want to create a physical self-care routine with my products. So that is Sweet Sugar Baby, and that's sugar without the R. Sweetsugarbaby.com. I am on IG at Sweet Sugar Baby, and I'm also on Twitter, one Sweet Sugar Baby. For my podcast, I am Self-Care After Dark podcast, and I'm streaming everywhere. You can get me on Apple, on Google, on Spotify, on Anchor. I'm everywhere. So I would love for you guys to check out my podcast. I'm on Twitter, and that's Self-Care After D1. And I love that Twitter. I don't even go on any other Twitter. I'm rocking out on that Twitter because it's so much fun. But my new journal, it's called A Moment for Me, daily journal. And that's actually on Amazon. So if you look up Shavonne Jones, or if you look up A Moment for Me daily journal, it will pop up, and you guys could definitely support me.
And your link tree, all of that is on there, right? All right.
Everything is on there.
Because I'm going to definitely have that in the episode notes because like I told her, y'all, I want to, y'all get her stuff. Like, and her marketing is so, like, y'all gonna see like somebody glistening leg with the sugar scrub. Like it just make you want to take care of your skin. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that too, I have really gotten into is making, like, I don't know what happened. I think life just be life, and then you forget yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And skin has always been something that's been important to me, like skincare and skin and hair. Like, those are the two things that, like, I'm not going to use cheap products. You know what I'm saying? Like, and more recently, my oldest daughter wants to be a esthetician. And so she'll look up different stuff and just have all the tips for everything. And she's always buying stuff. And then if she buys it and it doesn't work for her and it works for me, then I give, free stuff or whatever. And she's always, "Ooh, I got this new," just trying all this stuff. Right. But I have really, even with my skincare, like making sure I'm even like doing a body oil and then lotion, just all these things, just because I remember certain things about me in different seasons. And I realized like I had kind of got away from it. And I've noticed that as I have gotten back to me, that's why my self-care or my time alone or whatever feels good for me, like you said, like what works for me, that's why those are like non-negotiables now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't work Saturday at all. I don't do nothing. If somebody texts me, I'll say, okay, I'll get back to you tomorrow. Cause if it's my client, I don't want you to think I'm, but if it's anybody else, I'll respond the next day. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I need a day for me. I need a day where I don't have to work and I don't have to do anything. And it was hard at first, but I look forward to my Saturdays now. You know what I'm saying?
Those boundaries are for you. They protect you. Yeah.
Yes. Well, guys, I really hope that you got a lot of information. I know I got some information. So if this episode was just for me, I have some good ways that I can like help the people that I'm working with, because stuff like this comes up and I want to be able to best support the people that I'm blessed to have, in my life in whatever form or fashion. So I hope y'all listen to her podcast, follow her on Instagram, buy some, do some, you know what I'm saying? Follow her on, what are you on TikTok too?
On TikTok, I'm Self-Care After Dark on TikTok. And on TikTok, I'm also, I think it's One Sweet Sugar Baby on TikTok as well. So.
Okay. I didn't even know about that one on there. I'm gonna have to find her too.
I'm following you on the podcast page.
Yeah, that's the one I follow. Yep.
Y'all are your content. I love it.
TikTok is what I love about TikTok. It is so unlike any other platform because you will see people in your For You page and you may never see them again. And you may follow them and you may not or whatever. And I get like viewers, comments, whatever from people that are not following me. And like, or then I get new followers and stuff like that. And it's like, it's just this unique platform where literally anyone can see you, whether they're following you or not. And that's what I love about TikTok.
I love it too, but sometimes it's like, oh, people can be so cruel on that TikTok. But
that too,
it comes with it. There's good and bad, but I love it because you can be as creative as you want to be. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about, and somebody is going to be able to relate. And that's just another way that you can connect with people through your podcast or through whatever you have going on. So I like it. It's fun.
Girl, the creativity of some of these people. When I tell you, y'all, there are movie producers out there. There are movie directors. There are actors that should be getting paid big money. There are insanely talented people in this world. And that's what I love about TikTok. Sometimes I'm on, I don't know, some weird side of TikTok where I start seeing some things that I'm just kind of like, how did you? And then sometimes I'm like, ooh, okay, I like this side of TikTok. I don't know how I ended up here, but thank you. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot that be happening on TikTok. And then there's people like my oldest daughter who has followers and she ain't dropped not a lick of content. And it makes me so mad. Not like mad for real, but I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, following you for what? Like, you ain't even do nothing.
Maybe she comments. I don't know.
I don't even know either, but her followers are growing, like growing, and she literally has dropped nothing on there. Like, wow. I don't know. I don't know
either.
I don't know.
You never know. There's no like rhyme or reason to growing.
It just happens how it happens when it happens, and you gotta enjoy what you're doing in the meanwhile. You can't really be doing it for the sake of just trying to grow, because the ebbs and flows of downloads and follows and money and business and all these things just fluctuate. And when you love what you do, though, I think that helps you to keep going regardless. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much. I'm so glad we were able to finally get you on here. I say that like she didn't even know that she was on my mind for a long time, but yes.
Thank you for squeezing me in. Thank you for squeezing me in, because I know, I had COVID. I was struggling over there. So I was like, as soon as I got over COVID, I was like, let me DM you back, so you know that I'm interested too,
Yeah.
So you taking time for me.
Yes. I gotta have you back on. We gotta, cause it's so crazy. This is our first time like actually having a conversation, but like I told her, I feel like we be talking all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? So definitely gotta have you back on. I think, I have an idea. Okay. Yep. See, once I get an idea, this is when it becomes, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is when it be coming. If I don't have an idea for you, though, you could have been on my mind for 6 months, and you just be on my mind until that idea goes, But yeah, so thank you for making time, because I know you're very, very busy, so I appreciate it. Y'all make sure y'all follow her, check her out, all she has going on. Super dope person that I'm glad that the Twitterverse brought us together. You know what I'm saying?
To be.
So y'all, as always, make sure that you are taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Use some of them tips that she suggested to find good self-care for yourself. Please take care of yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is the whole purpose of why I had her on here. And what I'm always saying, like, if you're not good to you, you can't be good to nobody else, no matter what you got going on. You know what I'm saying? So be good to yourself. I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition. Another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for Tamara.